For the next 30 minutes, we will explore the unexplained. From mysteries beyond our galaxy to ghostly phenomena in our own backyard, we will dive into our psychic abilities and explore everything from conspiracies to the just plain weird. Welcome to 30-odd minutes. If the truth is out there, we will find it. But only by sheer accident.
Hey! Welcome to 30-odd minutes. Great to be with you. I'm Jeff Belanger. I'll be your host through this madness and mayhem tonight. Very excited to be with you because we're always happy when you're here because we kind of love you, don't we?
Yeah.
We do.
We do. We love you people. We love all of you. Thank you for watching. If you're watching us live online at www.30oddminutes.com, please jump in the chat room because Sarah and Rob.
No.
Sarah, you're looking, you look different. Did you do something different with your hair?
No. Sarah's
Got a cut.
AWOL.
Microphone.
Sarah's AWOL.
Sarah's AWOL. All right, Sarah's on a plane, but she's got some really cool pictures to show us next week, and we'll hear all about it. You guys doing well?
I'm doing well.
Yes.
I'm excited because I've got kids. I've got a kid. And,
I have one too.
And Rob, you've got a kid, and
It's her birthday too, by the way.
and-
Happy birthday, Jilly.
happy birthday, Jillian. Tonight we're talking about children and the paranormal, which is such a great topic because I think, like a lot of people, I got interested as a kid. I got into the paranormal. It all happened with a Ouija board at a sleepover around age 10. We broke it out. We were looking for the ghosts in a friend's haunted house. He was just so matter-of-fact about his house being haunted, and I got hooked. I wanted to know what was going on in the home, and so we broke out the Ouija board. We'd have little investigations going. We'd talk to the parents, and it's an amazing topic, and a lot of us get interested as kids. When we become parents, we start to wonder. We think about our own children's imaginary friends. We think about the ghost stories they tell us, the stuff that scares our children. We start to remember the things that scared us. As a paranormal investigator, I hear all about people being afraid, don't touch this, don't do that, don't bring your kids, it's dangerous. Often I can think of nothing that would make this subject even more alluring than a series of warnings. Well, we're going to be talking about all that tonight. But first, one of your emails. Rob, we did get one this week. What do our viewers want to know? Do tell.
All right. Hey, Oddballs. I really enjoy your show. Finally, something good to watch on my thingy with the fruity name.
Got it?
When I discovered the podcast, I downloaded all episodes and love it, especially the breakdowns with the technical stuff.
What, do we have breakdowns with technical stuff?
Breakdowns with
We
technical. I
have
don't know
had a
what they're
couple.
talking about.
I'm having one tonight, actually.
Yes.
That is what makes it normal, not odd. Serious things are brought with humor and fun. Thank you all, Oddballs, for making the show and educating people about stuff that really matters in life. A warm greeting, Linda.
Stuff
Thanks,
that
Linda.
really matters in life. Thank you, Linda. We appreciate it. Email us, info@30oddminutes.com. Find us on Twitter, Facebook, MySpace, you name it. We want to know what you think. Send us your hate mail, too, because that's kind of cool to get. Gives us something to talk about. Okay, children and the paranormal. We got a great guest to talk about it tonight. Dave Schrader. He's uniquely qualified to discuss this topic. Why? Well, first of all, he was a child himself, which is kind of scary. Second of all, he's the father of 7 children, which is really paranormal. And if that's not enough, he's the author of The Other Side, A Teen's Guide to Ghost Hunting and the Paranormal. He's the host of the popular Darkness on the Edge of Town radio show broadcast on KTLK in Minneapolis, St. Paul, also streams online. He's the host of Darkness events that feature paranormal investigations at hotspots all over the U.S., live from our studios in the Twin Cities of Minneapolis, Minnesota. Please welcome Dave Schrader. Yay! Hey! Yeah. Thank you. Dave, how are you?
Doing great, Jeff. Thanks a lot for having me on.
Hey, it wouldn't be a party without you. So we were just together this past weekend at Eastern State Penitentiary in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania for one of your famous events.
Yes.
And this is getting awkward already. Well, there's something that happened that was a bit paranormal as you freeze here on us. Something happened. You and I were talking in the middle of the night, and you said, let's go down to cell block 8, which was a paranormal hotspot, and we did. And right near cell block 8, of course, is Al Capone's cell. Can we show that first picture? There it is. You can see it's behind a closed and locked gate, so you can't get in there. But if you stick your camera in the hole, you can get a good picture. There it is. Dave, you did something in that cell that I'm not sure any other human being has ever done. Do tell.
I am sure that I do not know what you're talking about, Jeff.
No problem. That's why I'm here to help refresh your memory. It was just a couple days ago.
What?
one of your chief complaints, of course, and he's absolutely right, folks. I can confirm this. One of the chief complaints, of course, was that teddy bears run amok inside the old penitentiary, and that if you break wind, it reverberates all throughout the building. And so what part wouldn't? Al Capone's cell. So a little turnaround, a little right into Al Capone's cell. And what was funny is I remember thinking, I would hate to leave here tonight not also being able to claim that I had done the same thing. And so a little later in the evening, I went down there solo and paid my respects to the spirit of Al Capone.
I'm from Chicago. Al's from Chicago. I just considered I was blowing him a kiss goodbye.
That's right. So it was a wonderful night. Great event. We have so much fun at these things. And there were kids at this event, which we often see, little ones. So do you get that a lot? Do you? This is
Little kids? Yes, I do.
Yes, you do. So at these events, you've got people that are interested in the subject. How young do they run at your events?
You know, we try to keep the age limit to about 13, 14 years old,
Right.
And above, just for respect for the other people that are there, and also because we're going to large, dark locations to investigate, and you know, with a bunch of strangers. I certainly don't want to, you know, have a bunch of kids walking around in places they don't know in the dark with people they don't know as well.
Right, right. Understood. So, I mean, do you tell parents flat out, no one under the age of 13? Is that the rule?
Yeah, it's on the site. It depends on the location. If the location might be in a more dangerous area, more further remote, sometimes it's 15 and below are not allowed into the event. They can come in for the meet and greet and for the talks.
Right.
And there's quite a bit of time that we'll let the younger kids come in and hear the talks so that they can learn about the paranormal. I just that's where it gets woogie about letting them go into the investigation. I believe there's a time and a place for that. It's just not in a large group setting in the dark with a bunch of strangers.
Right. Understood. Okay. Well, you were a kid once. Am I right?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, good. You know, what's funny is we actually have photographic proof that you were once a child. If we could look at that. That's a silk suit. Look at that.
Where the hell did you get that?
You are a stud, my man. That is just styling. If you had one of those today as an adult, you would be just a sex symbol. Really amazing stuff.
I'll break it out. I do have one. Where the hell did you get that?
Oh, that's all over the internet. You kidding? No, seriously.
I was a child once. Yeah, I actually remember that outfit.
We've rattled them already. Just you wait, Schrader. Just wait. That gets worse.
Like Paranormal, this is your life?
This is your life. And so you wanted to be a DJ from a young age, I'm sure. I think we might have a photo of that, too, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, look at that. Dave's first DJ booth there. Look at that. The record player. That's got to be 1960-something.
No, let's try like 1975.
Yeah, whatever. Hey, so at what point do you start to get interested in the paranormal as a kid?
I just remember having strange things happen when I was a kid. My parents, my mom and aunt would tell me stories about my grandmother who had come to visit me after she had passed away. Now, I have no memories of these things. I was very little, so I don't have any memory of when I was 3, 4, 5 years old. But it was their telling me the stories that always kind of kept me interested. And then, just growing up in the town I grew up in and my friends, we were all into the ghost stories and Hardy Boy mysteries and all that stuff. So I think that just kind of spawned it. But then growing up, now as an adult, I start looking back at all the strange things that occurred to me that now we would put in the category of paranormal.
Right, right. And I mean, was it Scooby-Doo? Was it all these paranormal shows? I mean, do you think that had an influence?
Well, definitely watching the shows like that. Like I said, mostly it was, the silly stuff, the old horror movies, the ghost books, things that I used to pick up. I got really intrigued when I was probably about 12 or 13 years old. My aunt has an entire wing of her house is all just books. Library. And I used to go in there and pick up real books on ghosts from Hans Holzer and telephone calls from the dead from D. Scott Rogo and books by Ed and Lorraine Warren. And that's what really, started to intrigue me and pique me as a teenager.
Right, right on. And so, I mean, now that you have kids of your own, I mean, are they getting a heavy dose of it at home? Are they getting an interest already? You've got young ones and you've got older ones.
Yeah, some of them show some interest toward what I do. I try to keep what I do on the down low. They know I host a radio show, and they know I go out to places with some of the celebrities from the paranormal TV shows.
Right.
But I don't really talk about ghosts. I don't talk about demons or these things around the kids, at least not in any way that, in any serious way. And we might talk about Casper or things like that, but I downplay it quite a bit.
Right. No, I understand. So, talk to me now. Growing up as a kid, did your mom think that you might be into this weird stuff? Was she ever concerned?
I don't think so. I remember dabbling with the Ouija board with the neighbor girl and kind of getting hooked on it and liking the whole idea of being able to communicate and coming home with the Ouija board, borrowing it for the night and working the Ouija board with my mom. And, she always kind of kept me in check with it. She knew what I wanted to hear. I think she was pushing it along to help get the messages I want. And once I heard what I wanted, I was off and running and playing something else.
Well, Dave, let's just get your mom on the line here. Let's see here. Terry Schrader, are you with us?
Yes, I am.
Hi, Dave's mom.
Hi.
Thanks for joining us.
Oh, it's great to join you.
Live on the phone. Can we show that picture of Dave with his mom? I think still in that really rockin' blue silk suit. That is just a beautiful picture. Look at that. There's Dave's mom. There she is. What a princess you are. I've had the honor of meeting Dave's mom at some of his past events. So we were just talking about his interest in childhood, and you used the Ouija board with your son?
Oh, me? Yeah.
What came through?
Oh, geez, I don't remember. We were getting things that came through, and then I wasn't smart enough to know that you shouldn't fool with that stuff.
Oh, come on. Well, we're going to address that later on in the show, I promise. But did you recognize an interest in this stuff at a young age with Dave?
Well, yeah, actually, Dave had his first paranormal experience when he was 2 years old.
2? What happened?
He was staying overnight at my dad's house, and this was after my mother had passed away.
Right.
And I came the next morning to pick him up, and he was sitting on the bed, and he said, "Mom, Grandma came to visit me last night." And I said, "Oh, jeez." I said, "Oh, well, you had a dream about her. That was nice." And he said, "No, she was on my bed, and she was talking to me, and she was telling me she loves me and she misses me." And, I still thought it was a dream until he described the dress that she was buried in, and he never saw her.
Wow. Amazing stuff. Well,
Yeah.
Well, very good. Well, Terry, thank you for the wonderful surprise. And Dave, your mom, she's awesome. She helped collude.
I love you, Mommy.
He loves you, Mommy. Oh, that's nice.
Oh, and I love both of you.
Oh, I'm in the club. All right, very good. We'll see you at the next event, Terry. Thanks for calling.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. This is your life.
Jeff, let's just stop the surprises right here, all right?
Oh, just wait. No, I'm kidding.
Oh, God, no.
Let you wonder about it. All right, very good. Okay, so let's move on. So now you're a dad. You've been doing this a long time. You've been doing the radio show since 2006, right?
That's right.
Yeah, and I mean, once you get going down this road, you get sucked in. You realize all the avenues and offshoots that's to this stuff. I mean, how do you broach the topic with your kids?
Well, we've kind of talked about this at conventions. When, I try not, as I said, I try not to play it up too big. I try not to make a big deal of it because I don't want to scare kids.
Right.
And, their imaginations run wild. They watch the shows like Scooby-Doo and all the silly cartoons out there. So I really try not to. But when they do broach it with me, I usually try to just be very, straightforward with them. And if they tell me, "Daddy, I think I have a ghost in my room," I'll ask why. Why do you think you have a ghost? And I just try to talk to them about what they think is going on and listen to what they have to say. And sometimes just getting it off their chest, they're fine and they go back to playing. Then, of course, being a diligent parent, I kind of keep my eyes peeled for the next week or so to see if anything else weird happened.
Right. Now,
But, for the most part, we've had a couple of weird experiences that we've been able to get rid of pretty quickly. But, for the most part, it's just kind of listening to them and letting them be heard.
right, understood. Now, also as an investigator, are you ever dealing with families with children who are scared?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, there's, and that's always kind of a priority when we get a call if there's a family with children involved, is getting in there to try to get the answers for the kids and get them to come out of that high escalation of fear and bring them back down to a normal rate and, try to get the answers for them and show them that there's many more real things that could be causing what they think is paranormal.
Right. And what's so important when it comes to kids is that in psychology it's called Maslow's hierarchy of needs, which is a triangle, and at the base of the triangle are things like food and shelter, the stuff if you don't have you die. But safety, personal safety, is right up there. If kids don't feel safe, they can't move on to all the other levels of happiness. They can't have any kind of fulfilled life. No human can, but especially in children. We want our kids to be safe and secure. And one of the analogies I like to use is, if you live in a neighborhood and there's been a series of robberies, you want to tell your kids, hey, we have to be aware, we have to know that these things are going on, but at the same time, reassure. You're safe, mom and dad are in charge. I know there's been some bad things happening nearby, but we're on top of it. And similar with ghosts, you want to always reassure that parents are in charge, even if they don't feel so in charge, because it's such a crazy thing you're dealing with when you're talking about the paranormal. We're not in charge. We can't always tell it to go away, but I think it's important that our kids feel that way. Now, you wrote the book. You're one of the co-writers. We had Patrick Burns and Marley Gibson on earlier, wrote The Other Side, A Teen's Guide to Ghost Hunting and the Paranormal. Just like you as a teenager, I'm really getting interested in this stuff. And so how do you approach this topic when it comes to teens? What's the difference between teens and adults in the approach?
We really went at it from more of a safety point to cover the bases of why we do what we do when we investigate, what are we hoping to accomplish, getting them on the right path. Unfortunately, there's a good and bad to this huge boom that's taken place in the paranormal world with TV shows like Ghost Hunters and Paranormal State and Psychic Kids and Most Haunted and Ghost Adventures.
30-odd minutes?
Exactly.
Huh? Right. Good. And you're frozen. Isn't that awesome? See? We get to be smart Alex. No, you're back. Very good.
When you've got all these shows out there, it's a great opportunity to expose it and kind of bring people out of the paranormal closet that are having experiences and not feel so odd, because they're able to talk with one another and start to share thoughts and ideas and realize that other people like them are having these type of experiences. The only problem is TV does not always show things in the proper perspective. We have to pare it down from 18 hours of shooting into a 30-minute segment, 22 minutes after commercial. And they leave out a lot of the safety factors. And unfortunately, a lot of the way people are learning to do paranormal investigations is by watching TV shows. So we really wanted to get down to the nuts and bolts, still have it be fun and make it a hobby, but we wanted to explain why we do the things we do, how to set up teams, what are the important roles in a team, what are the important parts of dealing with families, and everything from how to protect yourself going in and coming out of an investigation to the proper tools to use, how to set them up, and most importantly, how to look at evidence, especially evidence that can cause false positives, orbs, smoke. It could be your breath is captured on film as you're taking a photograph. So we try to talk them through all those things so that way they come at it with a better education. And it was a sticky line, Jeff, to walk. When we started writing this book, I'd always been of the mind, it's probably a good idea to keep kids out of doing the paranormal for a while. But then I thought how hypocritical, because I used to do this. I used to sneak into the old abandoned house at the end of our block with my buddies and check it out for ghosts and pass around ghost stories, and that was always kind of an excitement for me growing up. So to think, we really shouldn't let the kids do that. Well, how about instead, let's educate them and give them the right way to do this and flesh it out for them more than the 22-minute format they see.
Right on. Now, what are some of the safety tips? I mean, what should children watch out for when they're out doing this?
Well, most importantly is getting permission to use the locations, because the one thing, we joke around about it all the time, but I'm not afraid of the dead, it's the living that scare me. Right. And there have been news stories in the last 2 years of paranormal investigators being chased out of locations by homeless people, gangs, drug addicts, things like that have taken over some of these old abandoned buildings. And that's where the real danger lies. That, and in the dark, you're walking around trying to ghost hunt, keep your flashlights down because you don't want to get caught, and there's holes in the ground, rotted floorboards, nails exposed. So it's really kind of how to do it the right way, how to get permission to go into these locations, take a good look at it in full light, taking notes so you understand how the rooms are laid out and what you're looking at, and then going in to investigate at night so you have a lay of the land. And more importantly, getting yourself a mentor. There's enough paranormal teams, God knows, popping up in the United States. And there are some really solid teams. And getting one of the leaders to come with you to kind of oversee. I also encourage talking to law enforcement officials. A lot of the law enforcement officials are very into the paranormal. and to be a mentor to a younger team. They could go with them. They can also get a lot of access to locations that normally we may not be able to, because the people that own the locations will feel safer knowing there's a police officer on there.
Right, absolutely. All right, Dave, we do have a question for you in our chat room. Andrew Lake, please.
Yeah, we've got one from Miss Princess, which is probably Sarah out on the road.
I hope so.
Miss Princess wants to know how Dave manages his day with 7 kids. How do you do that, Dave?
That's a good question.
Duct tape them to the wall?
That's paranormal enough. How do you manage your day with 7 kids?
Well, thankfully, the moms of my children, all of a sudden I sound like I'm starring in the TV show Big Love, but been through a few divorces. So I get to see my kids quite often. They're not with me every day. I get to see them a couple days a week and every other weekend and things like that. But their moms have always been very supportive and understanding of the work that I do.
Right on. Yeah, and that, boy, isn't that the truth? Because some of the hours we keep doing this stuff, when you're on an all-night investigation, or you get home at 3-4 in the morning, and that takes a lot of understanding in the case of our spouses, and that goes for men or women. Sometimes the women are ghost hunting and the guys are home with the kids. I mean, that's an understanding spouse. God bless them.
You're a little concerned when you're coming rolling in at 3 or 4 in the morning. They're looking for lipstick on your collar. Me, I just have dust and cobwebs on mine.
Yeah, right. Yeah, your batteries drained, EMF meters hanging off of you, and we are an odd bunch of people when you're at these things, and it's so cool. Like just being at this event last weekend, and I've seen this time and again where people walk downstairs, they just got shaken up by something they've experienced. Like, oh, I just got scratched. I just got punched in the chest by some unseen force. This is great. This is awesome.
Yeah.
And you're like, where else would you go and pay money to have this experience and run home and just be like, it was awesome getting hit in the chest by a ghost, and I can't wait for the next one, because maybe this time I'll get scratched in the face.
Well, where else would regular people go, or you and I?
I know where you and I would go.
Yeah, that S&M club down on 35.
That's right. I know. Well, it's I want my old job back, and the only way I think is just stay in front of them. So show them I still got it. You know what I'm talking about. Yeah, whatever. All right. You don't even know. I got nothing. Ouija boards. This is a big polarizing topic in the paranormal. Are they dangerous? What say you, Dave Schrader?
When beating your friend about the head and shoulders with them, yes, they can be very dangerous.
And we have done that on this show.
One in the eye with a planchette,
Yep.
very dangerous. Inherently, there's nothing wrong, right? It's plastic and cardboard. If plastic and cardboard were evil, Barbie would have been outlawed 20 years ago.
Right.
Here's the one thing I do know. When we get called into a lot of investigations that are going really bad, where there's, children being frightened, family being scratched, the one common denominator we do look at is, we started playing with the Ouija board. We were having seances, we were doing this, we were doing that. Now, do I believe that it's really opened the 7th portal to hell, or do I believe that maybe it's gotten into their head and they've become addicted to something that may be messing with their lives? Do I believe it's, it's so hard to say. I don't know. I don't walk in and see the shimmering beam of light coming down from the ceiling into the Ouija board, screaming, voices and flames from hell taunting me. But that's just coming home from work, on a regular basis. Right. But you go into these locations, with the Ouija board, I just know the one thing, if we remove that common denominator, I don't get stories that are like, hey, Dave, I won the lottery, met the woman of my dreams, and just got the car I've always wanted. And it all started by playing with the Ouija board.
That's funny.
So, I don't have anything negative to say about it, except for the fact that I don't hear good stories that start with the Ouija board. I'm starting to hear some that people, seem to get good messages, and there's actually been a few books that have been written using the Ouija board. But again, those stories are so few and far between. For me, it's hard to judge or justify, should we use them or should we not. So in my opinion, I think maybe it's easier just let's leave that out of the mix altogether on an investigation, or even messing around with it.
Well, people ask me, if they're dangerous, would you let your 3-year-old daughter Sophie play with them? And my answer is, yes, I would. There she is. There's Sophie playing with my Ouija board. And just to drive home the point, if that isn't enough, this is Sophie playing with the Ouija board in Waverly Hills. This is Sophie playing with the Ouija board in the catacombs of Paris, France. And, of course, in war-torn Iraq. So I think they're totally safe. Otherwise, why would I give her a Ouija board in a war-infested country?
Love you, Father.
Oh, Dad of the Year right here. Thanks, Sophie, for playing along with Daddy's little pranks and stuff. So do you think kids are more sensitive? Are they more open to the paranormal than adults?
You know, that's what they say. I don't know if it's a hyperactive imagination. That's why I say a lot of the things and the experiences I had as a child, I dismiss as an adult because we can't trust our memories. As a perfect example I like to give, Jeff, I don't know if you're even old enough to remember the old original Land of the Lost TV series.
I am. I do remember that.
Here's proof that we cannot trust our youth and our memories from our youth. When that TV show came out on DVD, I went out and I bought the entire series. I ran home, put popcorn on, gathered all my kids together, and I said, this is the greatest single TV show ever created. Dad woke up every morning on Saturdays early to watch this show. I popped it in the player. We all sat down, huddled around the TV with just the glow of the TV and eating our popcorn, and on came the Land of the Lost. And it was the worst piece of crap I've ever seen. One by one, my kids looked at me as though I were high. They got up and walked out of the room, and I was left there. Now, mind you, these are the same children who find entertainment value in Pikachu, Pika Pika, Pika Pika. And I look like an idiot showing them Land of the Lost. Yeah. So I have a hard time reflecting back on childhood memories and things that occurred and not wonder, has my mind blown it out of proportion?
Right.
But I do remember having experiences as a child that's, you know, and having other friends that were children having experiences. And, of course, hearing stories growing up about, like, my mom's friend, Karen, whose one son would be visited by the ghost of her father after he passed away. And the daughter would talk to somebody that wasn't there, and the rocking chair would start rocking. So, you know, I mean, to me, that's intriguing. Are they open to it? Maybe, because nobody's told them so far that ghosts don't exist.
Right.
Nobody's told them or explained to them that, okay, some people look solid, some people are ethereal, some people come in a puff of smoke, some come in a cloud. You know, I mean, maybe they're just open enough to that at that point that it's okay for their minds to accept it and absorb it.
Right. Well, let's talk Indigo kids real quick, because this is something that I actually have strong feelings about. It's a bit controversial. The idea that, also called star children, there's lots of labels for them, but the whole idea that we've got special psychically sensitive children, and there's even schools for them now. Have you encountered Indigo kids in your line of work and in working on your book?
Well, you know, I've had people that I've met that are sensitive, that, you know, if they happen to bump into me, and I'm very protective with my children. I usually don't go out in public with them in locations where I'm Darkness Radio Dave.
Right.
So, you know, but when I have on occasion been out with one of my children, sensitive people will tell me, oh, you know, your son is an Indigo or your daughter is an Indigo. And I'm really? Because 20 minutes ago she was sticking a popsicle in her ear. You know, I don't really get it. But do I think that maybe we're becoming more enlightened? Sure. Do I think that maybe the children are becoming more educated and learning a lot faster? Sure. Could it have to do with the fact that we're becoming crystalline children and we're opening up? I don't know. Could it be the fact that we're pumping all of our foods with hormones and steroids, and it's just accelerating the growth rate in the mind? You know, that very well just could be as well.
Right. Yeah, no, you're right. Well, the thing with Indigo kids, I mean, having been a soccer coach, a dad now, you know, a sister who's a psychologist, one of my concerns when we start to label children...
You were a soccer coach, a dad, and a sister?
You know, this Skype connection sometimes is fuzzy. I actually was giving out the sports scores. You missed the break entirely. But anyway, so one of the things that bothers me about these labels is that we've got, you know, if you start to give a kid this label, kids don't want to be unique. They want to blend in. They want to be like every other kid. And so you start to treat them differently, and, you know, I'm just worried about the behavioral problems. Maybe they are more psychically sensitive, but maybe it's time to just treat the kids like normal kids and let them enjoy that part of it.
I agree. That's part of the part that frightens me. And I've talked to Chip Coffey and Chris Fleming and some of our friends from shows like Psychic Kids,
right.
Children in the Paranormal. And I've said, do you ever worry when you're bringing these parents on with the children? Because sometimes it sure looks to me like the quintessential stage mom
right.
or stage dad, you know, hoping this is the next Chip Coffey or Chris Fleming or Derek Acora or Sylvia Brown, and they seem to be pushing that.
We are right up against the end, Dave. I am sorry, but I want to thank you for joining us. We will have to catch up with you again, my man. Until next time, people, stay odd. Yeah.